Hello, I'm Sarah Thrower with the Maxwell Park Library. I'm the youth associate there, and we're part of the Tulsa City County Library System. I am here today to record the intro to my first ever crafting video. It's not YouTube worthy. So let me just tell you that right up front. I have been doing a lot of paper crafting this last year, and you've probably seen the fruits of those labors, in the library with the dinosaurs and the bugs and the food and things like that are paper crafts above the children's nonfiction section. And I really wanted to do some of that with kids and teens this summer for our programming during the summer reading program, which is June 22nd through July 31st. And unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we can't do in-person programs. So the next best thing that we can offer this summer is pick up crafts. We do curbside pickup for library items right now. And starting Monday, June 29th, according to my calendar, that's when kids, so 5 to 12-ish, can pick up a kit to make a paper craft dragon. And I've made several in attempting to make a video, because the first video I made, I totally wonked up. And so I made another one today, which I think will do the trick. So I'll show you. This is the first one that I made out of cardstock. This is the Kids Dragon Craft Kit. There will be 25 of these that include all the supplies you need to make them, like glue and scissors, and of course the parts pages and instructions, and a paper with a link to the video and blah, 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 blah. So this is what I made. Today, since I had to redo my video, I made another one, which was this one. And it's smaller. I don't know if it's easy or hard to tell, but it's also, these are both cardstock. This one's actually a little bit smaller. Same thing, different size. So that's what I'm making in the video, but yours is gonna be this one. Yeah, it's bigger. It's the biggest. It's the mommy or the daddy or whatever. Look at how big that is, and gorgeous. Look at that color. It's so good. And it's easy. This is one part that you fold and glue. You cut it out and you fold it and you glue it. And the video that follows this will tell you how. And if you're proud of what you do, which I hope that you're proud, because crafting should be fun and it should be something that makes you proud that you've made something, post in the comments to this video on our Facebook page. We're of course at facebook.com/Maxwell Park Library. Show us a picture of you and your dragon. Name your dragon. Tell us, what your dragon's name is. If you have any favorite dragon books, tell me what they are. Just load up the comments with content from what you do with your dragon kit. And again, that's starting Monday, June 29th. You can pick them up these only at the Maxwell Park Library at 1313 North Canton. And I only have 25 kits. So the first 25 kids present to pick up their SRP Summer Reading Program Dragon Kit will get them. And those that don't make it in time, you can, in this video, it'll tell you where you can go to print out one of these. And if you have scissors and glue at home, you can do it on your own anyway. So if anyone does that too, upload those videos, print them on funky colored paper and show me your funny colored dragons. I want to see all that stuff. So anyway, enough of my intro. Here's to building dragons for the Imagine Your Story 2020 Summer Reading Program for kids. Here's to you and your dragon. Mwah. Okay. Good luck, and I hope everybody has fun. Okay, bye. Okay, so you will have a few things in your kit. There will be golf pencils, but I have my mechanical pencil. You'll have scissors. you don't have these kinds of scissors for the kids kit. I did get kids scissors, but they're not with the round blunt. I mean, they're not with the round blunt edge. I wanted to make sure that you had a nice pointed edge to get the corners with nicely. You'll have a glue stick. I have Aleene's clear gel tacky glue. This is just what I use, but a glue stick will be fine. And you should have 3 to 4 binder clips. And these you're going to use once you have glued stuff together, but need to hold pieces together still while glue dries, and you move on to other pieces. And most importantly, you have this. It looks a lot prettier what you have than what I have because I keep using mine. I've made 2 of these dragons so far in different ways, so I use this a lot. So as you can see, this is from Canon Creative Park, and that's where I get almost all of my paper crafting ideas from. They are really good. Their instructions and everything are very, they're all very similar. You'll notice how on the symbols and notations, some of them are grayed out. That means you don't need to worry about it. But here, of course, you're going to have your pattern page, which is your parts, and your assembly instructions, which is this packet. Kits are going to come with these on, this is on one side, and your instructions are on the other side, so it's a single page. There is only one part in this dragon, which is pretty cool. There are different lines on the dragon once you cut it out, and when you see just the straight up dots, that's a mountain fold. It means you want to fold it to where it looks like a mountain. And when you see dot, dash, that's a valley fold line. So here is your parts page. My printer at home is not super great, so we're just going to zoom in, and you can see right here, that's going to be a mountain fold. Right here is a mountain fold, but that is a valley fold. And it usually is going to be the same on the opposite side. So here we have a valley fold and a mountain fold. All the feet are valley folds. This is just an example. And here on the tail, got a valley fold, mountain, mountain. So just be aware, after you're done cutting, you're going to be looking for those dots. I didn't include it in the kit, but I use, a ruler, or you can use the sharp end of a table to fold things over. I don't have the thing yet to move my phone to show you how sharp the corners of this desk are. But just a straight edge is helpful when making those valley and mountain folds, and I'll show you that. One of the best tips that took me a long time to use, to actually get used to, is folding and rounding paper. And you do that by taking a straight edge, or pretend this is a table edge, and you just curve it and push it around, almost like you're making a ribbon, but not that tight, and it'll make a nice curve, and I'll demonstrate that for you later as well. But so that's the basics of what you have in your kit, plus your parts page. Now this is on cardstock, and I have made one of these dragons with cardstock. It's harder to fold, and it's a little bit smaller than the kit that you have, but this is what I made with cardstock. This is the dragon. You can see from scale from my hand how big it is. And you can see already why some of that curving action is needed, because your parts curve. Now, what you have is on a, I don't know the weight of the paper, but it's a larger size paper. Terry in our public relations department said, do you want these printed bigger? And I was like, sure. So they'll be slightly easier for you to cut because they're bigger for one. So the detail is, you know, you can see the difference in needing the precision, and you need a little less precision here than you do with cardstock. And the paper that you get is also more floppy and bendy, so I did find it easier to work with, so that was a really good call, Terry, so thank you for that. So this is the dragon that you will make, and what I have here is a cardstock copy, so it will be a little more difficult for me to make than your copy will be for you to make. But I just want to stress that, I mean, you're crafting, take your time. One thing I noticed the most when crafting with kids and teens at my library is they really rush through the part where you're cutting stuff out, and you really need to take your time with these paper crafts. Honestly, I find them relaxing, so I don't mind taking my time. And since we're doing this virtually with me making a demonstration video for you, you can take a break, you can pause. If your fingers start to hurt from all the cutting and stuff, pause your video, take a break, come back to it tomorrow. There's no rush, since we're not doing this as a program in-house at the library. Just take your time. But also another colleague, Alex, has imparted to us teen and children's staff, you know, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Meaning, you know, do your best. Just jump on in, do your best, and have fun with it. Crafting should be relaxing, so take your time, take it slow. I am going to start cutting some of this out, and I'll show you some tricks for cutting these sharp angles, but mostly we'll end up fast forwarding through some of this cutting. For there to only be one piece to cut out, it's interesting. It took me about 20-30 minutes to cut out the first time on cardstock, and I think significantly less with the larger paper that you have. But don't let that be your guide. Just know that it takes time, and don't be afraid of it taking time, okay? Because you've got all your tools. Just, you know, take the time you need. Okay, I always start out by cutting out all the extra paper. Just get rid of it. And like I said, the paper that you're going to be working with is not as thick as this cardstock. So cut that. Goes away. And let's see. Yeah. So I'm just going to start off with the tail. And you see how slow I'm going? Don't be afraid to go slow. And also notice that I'm not really moving my scissors, I'm moving the paper. I think that's something that people don't realize, that it's better to just move the surface of what you're cutting more than the scissors themselves. And I do know that you're using different scissors than me, but you should still be able to do these, you know, fairly easily. Okay. And I don't really cut pieces in order. I just kind of
do whatever the heck I want, because I've never really cut out these pieces with the intention of showing someone how to do it before. So bear with me as I go slowly around this nail, this claw, and this heel. And it's always better to come at it from beneath. See how my scissors are beneath and coming up? It's harder to do that sometimes, but if you're having a hard time angling your scissors, try either way, because sometimes that's a thing. So I'm just going to cut this tail out. This is the easiest part, is the tail. That's why I'm starting with it. Okay. And then this is really slow going. I promise we're going to do some fast forwarding after I do after I get this tail out. There we go. See, underneath. After I get the tail out, I'm going to do some difficult pieces, and I'll show you some more tricks. Well, here's one. Say you've almost cut it out completely. I'm sure you could go in and whack it. Sometimes you're like, ugh, I don't want to do that. Try twisting it around. And it'll pop off. And of course we have to clean it up anyway, so sometimes you just want to clean it up the regular way. It's up to you, but I end up twisting and pulling pieces off quite a bit. And got that. And I personally am more comfortable when the color is on the left side of my scissors. That's just me, but you know, the more you do it, the more you get to know, oh wait, this is what I need to do. I need to figure out which side the design needs to be on for my scissors to cut. And it does make a difference, so. But the more you do it, the easier it is to figure that out, and easier it gets. But just take your time and be easy on yourself. And if you do cut a little too much, it is not going to ruin anything. Just don't, you know, all the way through. That would not be great. But if you do ever get to a point where you feel like you've made too many cut mistakes, like, oh no, the whisker goes away, things like that, you can always go to Google and search for Canon Creative Park. And in the beginner series is where you'll find this dragon, and you can print it again, and you can try it again. Okay, so here's one of the tricky parts, because it's got, you know, the little sharp angle and up in here. So we're just going to cut into that white space. Going to cut around, this is his belly part. And then cut his face out. So remember, don't turn your scissors, turn the paper. I'm going to say that a million times before we start fast forwarding. Turn the paper, not your scissors. A lot of people do that, and I see them struggle doing that, and I'm like, no, don't do that. Well, here's a good example of the twist and pull. Turn it again. And you cut. And you don't have to go crazy angle there. You can just, you know, cut into the triangle. That's a lot of how you're going to get those angles, is by cutting into those triangles and getting them out. And I'll show you that here in a moment. Come here, buddy. There we go. Okay. So we've got that. This nice little round corner. And you just cut into that. And you don't have to do anything more than cut into the triangle. Oop, I'm gonna clean this up. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. Again, don't worry about things being perfect. Just take your time. Okay. This is hard. Let me go ahead and do this. This part's not so hard, but getting up in there, those horns can be a little tricky. See, now I'm on the right side, or the pattern is on the right side of my scissors, and that makes me a little uncomfortable because I can't quite see what I'm cutting, but you know, you do what you can. And I'm going to just hop over here to get to this tab. And we will talk about more of what those little cues mean, like the green dot. Like we know what the dotted lines and things mean with the mountain and valley fold, but we'll talk about that when we get to the gluing step. So now we're just going to go further in. And I'm going to hop around this claw. Again, turn the paper, not your scissors. And the same here. Oop, I'll cut a little bit more. Tiny bit. Okay. And don't be shy about like really grabbing up in to the dragon. Just make sure you're not gonna cut yourself. So we've got in there to the horn. So I'm going to do what I'm comfortable with and go under the horn. Make sure the design is on my left side so I can see where I'm cutting. Along the outside, I'm doing it slowly. Because for me, that's what works. Boop. And this come from under, go around, and here again, just turn the whole thing. Nah, I don't want it to bust. Okay. It's kind of under the dragon, but doing the same thing as before. Coming at it with the design on the left side of my scissors from underneath. Sometimes paper can be wiggly. You'll just get used to that. Just slowly cut around. Okay. All right. And be careful when your scissors get stuck. Don't yank them out. You don't want to rip the whole thing. Because that'll happen sometimes, that they get stuck. Just don't panic. Like they say in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, don't panic. And bring a towel. You don't really need a towel for this, but in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, you do. Okay, let's see when that pop out. It does pop out. So that's one of the more difficult parts. So now I'm just gonna cut it all out through fast forward because one part takes a kind of a while to take out. So I'm gonna pause this and take a break and then start again. Okay, so now that we have our dragon part cut out, you're gonna flip to the back side and you can see the instructions of how to fold it and glue it. So let's go ahead and do a quick refresher actually of the instructions that are on our dragon. We have all the dots when it's just dots and no dashes, like that. We're gonna fold it like a mountain, which I just use a straight edge and fold that like a mountain. It doesn't have to stay that way. You just angle it that way and you can. And so let's go through the whole piece and find all of the mountain fold lines and just fold them. So, and I will say sometimes I completely forget one part. Like last time I made a dragon, I forgot to fold the tail parts down, and when it was angled, it was silly. I was like, oh, that's why it's not fitting right. But before we do that, I'm gonna angle my Canon. Woo! Okay, so I'm gonna go to the edge of my desk and we're gonna do that curve thing. Remember that? This curve thing? So take a dragon to the edge of a straight surface and just roll it over. And we're mostly just doing this to the spine, where those arrows are. And maybe why not just a little bit of the face? It never hurts to roll the parts.
Look at how curly he is. He's so curly.
So that will help in the end with, you know, you can see how he is. That's going to help with that. So we are going to find all of the mountain folds, and we're just going to go around and look for them. But we're going to Since we started here, we're going to continue. Here's a tab with the mountain fold. So I'm just going to fold it over. And you notice some tabs don't have any sort of fold instructions, so that's okay. You can just leave those be. Okay, here's his nose. It's got a mountain fold, and the good thing is if you don't fold it super straight, you can do it again because it's just paper. And the inner part of his snout also has a mountain fold. Oh, and if you tear a little bit like I did, it's also not a big deal because it's paper. Come to the other inner part of his nose, or her nose. I'm kind of curious what people will name their dragons, if they will, if they do what they do. Now, this one is really hard to see. It's a mountain fold though. So we're gonna go through, a valley fold. We're gonna go through and look for the valley folds. Pull everything out. I know we've got a couple here. And those are the dots, dash, dot, dash. These are the lines of dots with dashes. And you make them into a valley, like that. And his face tabs have some more valleys. There's valley. There's not very many. There's more mountain folds on this one than valley ones. And I found that this mountain valley directive is kind of standard on really good paper crafting websites. Like I found that picnic stuff. It was on a Japanese website. So it was all in a language I couldn't read, but they had these same symbols, and just to check, yep, they were mountain valley folds. Okay, so we've got no more folds there. The feet, these are valley folds. Okay, so now these are the instructions, and I know it looks weird. You're like, what are all these arrows? What the heck? So all these arrows are explained on the first page, where it says red, apply glue, the red arrow. Green, add curves. Green dot, glue tab. And this specifically is glue one part to another part on the same piece. So, and this is just one piece altogether. So all the dots are going to be green. You don't need to worry about looking for any of the other kind. They're grayed out because you don't need to worry about them. Just know that you're going to put glue on the tabs that have a green dot. And kind of go through the piece. And practice. You can tell where they go because it shows you. This is the red part. This tab here goes onto this part of the face. And it's going to be the same with the other side. So you take this tab and it's going to go along that straight edge. I'm trying to make sure this is visible in the camera, but I can't really see my phone. So it goes like that. Okay. And like that, we're just going to practice placing things where they go. This says this tab goes on the back of that. So you can see that this is his belly. Go like that. Gotta remember to hold this out for you guys. You'll hold the belly out. It's gonna get glued like that, which will eventually hold it together so that you can glue these bottom tabs onto the bottom of the belly, like it shows. And then you have the horns. You're gonna glue this dot behind that horn. And you can see how it's got that little red arrow. That means there's gonna be a little bit of a bend. So it's not gonna be straight. It's gonna come out kind of like that. And it's the same with the other side. You have your green tab where you put your glue. You're gonna put it under like that. And one reason why I like to do this is just so you can kind of get the shape. It's like the practice. Like it's you're kind of telling it, okay, this is how you're gonna be folded very shortly. Okay. Now we have the tab under the leg here, and it's saying it's going right on the straight edge of the tail, and you can see these white decorations are going to line up. So I'm just gonna whoop. Takes a moment sometimes to get used to doing all this stuff. Okay, so you fold this down like that. And you see how that lines up really well? It can line up perfect. So that's how you do that. And you do the same on the other side. Oh, look, I forgot a valley fold. That's why that was wonky. I forgot a valley fold. See, I told you I would. Okay, so with that valley fold, that goes much easier. And it's the same on the other side. You bring this straight edge to that straight edge. And it's gonna kind of flop out a little bit like that at first, but like I said, right now we're just seeing how things fold together. And so the only thing left, I believe, is the body. And here on the instructions it has this body tab, which we have here. There's our body tab. And it folds into this straight edge here. And you can see that these red markings are going to line up. So we're just going to do the same thing. And it's going to cause the back to curve. There you go. And see how well that lines up? The belly and those little red parts, they all line up. So you turn it over and you do the same thing. Here's your belly part. Just gonna bend it, boop, fold it under, and that's how that goes. So now you can kind of tell how we're gonna put it together. I know sometimes looking at these diagrams are weird, but again, I've been doing this for a few months, so I'm used to seeing what they look like. And so now we can, let's try and glue it. Let's glue it together. You can get your glue stick, because I know I provided glue sticks. I also get a lot of glue on my fingers, and when I do this, I'm rubbing glue off. I hope it's not too gross, I'm sorry. It's just habit. So let's also get our binder clips. It's one thing that I use to help a lot. It's very helpful. Let's do the sides. Let's do the body parts. I'm going to start with this right side. You just need glue on the tab with the green dot, and not very much. Remember, you fold it, and I kind of do that to help. Oh, don't do it off camera, Sarah. I do that and I help spread the glue. Hold the piece, pinch it together to make sure that it's gonna stay. It's gonna take a little bit, so just be patient. But when you think you got a firm grasp on where the piece should be, take your binder clip, turn it over. Does your dragon stand? Yes, our dragon stands. You can take his little whiskers and fold them out a little bit if you want. Fold them out too. But here's our dragon. Here's my dragon. And he looks like that dragon, doesn't he? Looks pretty good. And how does he compare to the other dragons that I've made? This was the first one I made on cardstock. This was also cardstock. But he's smaller. Look at that. I did not expect him. I thought he'd be the same size, but he's smaller. And the one that you guys are gonna make is bigger. Biggest dragon. So that's kind of cool. I have this little family of dragons now. But this is what yours is gonna look like. Don't worry about the eyeballs. Like, see the little space. Don't worry about that, because when you look at it from the side, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's still fantastic. Your dragon, I'm gonna move the little guys aside, but this is gonna be your finished dragon. And the only difference, other than the final product being larger than what I made, is that the paper itself is floppier when you're working, but you've noticed that. But it's pretty easy, just one piece that you cut out and fold and glue. So that is the Kids Summer Reading Program. Kids Dragon Craft Kit from Canon Creative Park.